Good morning, all, and welcome to this week's episode of the CEO Momcast. I have with me Gabby from Love You More Jewelry, who is also the woman behind a couple of nonprofits. I'm going to let Gabby tell you about her passion projects as well as her jewelry line. So, why don't you go ahead and tell us about Love You More and how you got into that and into your nonprofits?
Awesome. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited and happy to be here. So primarily, I will say that Pledge to Humanity, which is my nonprofit, I'm the founder of, again, Pledge to Humanity. That came way before Love You More. So I have been a philanthropist for 20 plus years, and my Pledge to Humanity nonprofit is it's been a 501(c)(3) since 2009. And bottom line, the mission of Pledge to Humanity, it's about empowering children, kids, youth, teenagers, and even up to college, and from as little as kindergartners to college and everything in between, to be mindful life, um, just change makers, change makers. And it's pretty much about bringing awareness to the absolute power they have to change the world one day at a time and one person at a time. So they don't need to be adults, they don't need to be um you know uh celebrities to make a difference. Any child can, and that's the mission of Flesh to Humanity.
Okay. And I was scrolling through your website before we hopped on, and I noticed that you have started a new nonprofit on the Mexico side, which is where you are originally from, correct?
Correct. I'm from Mexico. I was born and raised in Mexico. And then we have a Sueños Amor y Esperanza,
Mm.
which it means dreams, hopes, and love. Um, and it is about the concept of bringing incredible opportunities to kids that are um, below poverty level in the area where we are, where we have our building. So Pledge to Humanities in the US, Sueños, Amor, Esperanza. It's in Mexico, and it's a three-story building that is a safe haven for many, many children that they get to have sometimes their only meal while they are in our facility. And then, so completely separate to that, it's my social enterprise, Love You More. So these are my two charities, very similar both, but then one is in United States, one is in Mexico. And obviously Love You More.
So is that the area of Mexico that you're from where you've opened this nonprofit?
No, no.
Okay.
I'm from a big city, and it's called Guadalajara,
Hmm.
and it's a city that is the second largest city after Mexico City.
Okay.
And then Puerto Vallarta, it is beach. It's a beach town,
Mhm.
very known for tourists. And the place that is where my school is, my after school program, my building is, it is about 15 minutes from the airport. It's very close. And the reason why I chose Puerto Vallarta to be the home of one of my global initiatives is because Puerto Vallarta is very close to me, because that's where I grew up going, uh, you know, as a vacation, because it's only 3 hours away from the city. And so that's why. And I wanted to, I also had a lot of Pledge to Humanity um, families that for 15 plus years we have been helping and supporting. So when I decided to build an actual building and have more roots in it, I wanted to be where I have been going for many, many years.
Okay. So let's dive into Love You More. How did that come to be?
So Love You More is definitely something that, number one, the fact that it's Love You More by itself, it just says so much. It's beyond a jewelry brand. Love You More is more about loving ourselves more and loving the world more. And it definitely stemmed from my passion with my nonprofits. about how we humans can and should attempt to live a life that is based on success, not the way success or the world success see, but more of a compassion and empathetic um, um, you know, company and business and person and enterprise, to have that component of love and loving more. It started it really because of the passion that I had with my Pledge to Humanity history and background. So I started a line called Love You More that is trademark, and I own the URL, loveyoumore.com, because I not only wanted a jewelry brand, but I wanted a brand that represented a lot of what I believe in and everything I do. So from my philanthropy to the giving back. So it is a social enterprise that gives back year round, not only local giving, but global initiatives as well.
No, I was reading that a lot of your pieces are handcrafted.
Mhm.
Is this kind of how we get into the global enterprise, handcrafted in other countries and sold in the US?
Yeah, well, the way it is from the beginning and from the inception of Love You More, even though I was doing gold pieces and silver pieces and custom jewelry, items with 14 karat and diamonds and a little bit of that, if that's how we started it, then I thought about the idea of creating items and line that it was more on the boho where things can be beaded. And that's really from right at the beginning where I wanted to be able to empower women and give them skills or a simple job that can make a difference in their lives by being fair trade and also being a part of their lives by giving back to them as well throughout the our relationships with our projects. And so there are definitely many things that are handmade. Not everything is, as you can see my line on my website, but there are items like our wonder wraps, and we call it our wonder wraps or wraparounds. They're really popular. These are the ones that you can wear them as an anklet. They're stretchy and you wear them few times, and you can wear them as a anklet, bracelet, double necklace. So those are very popular, and those are handmade by my artisans.
So I have a feeling this is kind of just answered, but is this what sets you apart from other jewelers in the industry, or do you feel that it's more your philanthropic side that makes a difference between a lot of mainstream jewelers?
I really think, Sarah, that it really is our biggest differentiator. The fact that we are from the beginning of the brand, we always want to make sure that Love You More was known that we had a purpose. We wanted to have a brand promise and a purpose on what we do as a corporation, as a brand. So yes, it's very cute jewelry and it's lovely and it's very trendy, and we have waterproof items from that to silver to real gold, and again, and everything in between. But the heart of Love You More, certainly, it is our giving back and our awareness on how we want to put ourselves out there for the local charities where we can do events for them, which we do regularly, and we give back quite a lot back in our own backyard. And we also have global initiatives. So Pledge to Humanity is completely separate from Love You More. I happen to be the mother of both and the founder of both, but one is 100% nonprofit, and Love You More is a for-profit with a purpose. It's a social enterprise. So that is definitely, to your question, a big differentiator, because we are aware of the impact that we can have by sharing from our success to the people that needs us And I love the win-win-win part because the customers are happy to be able to get something that has so much meaning to so many mothers, daughters, friends, relationships. The word love you more is what is very, very impactful. And add that the component of having um a philanthropy part of it, if you want to call it, or a give back or a brand promise, it makes us uh, different.
Okay. So let's switch gears just a little bit. I know we talked about this prior to us recording. We're both moms. How did you balance raising kids and running three different companies at once? Companies and nonprofits.
Yeah, well, I definitely have to say that it is not easy. It's quite a challenge, and unfortunately, that it's all the way in the back burner, which is not good. We always are trying to find balance where we have time to love ourselves with time and obviously self-care and quiet time and all of that. I feel like I'm wired and I was born this way where I enjoy multitasking and I feel that is not a burden and it's not difficult. Do I get tired? Absolutely. My mind and my heart are like 100 miles an hour, but my body sometimes goes like, okay, Gabby, slow down a bit because I need to recharge. So
Right.
I do make some time to definitely pray, meditate, and have some of those moments. I don't need much because my head is spinning in a million directions and I just want to dive in and go back to my next task. And then, of course, I could never do anything without the amazing support of the people around me. I could never do it without their love and their commitment, from my volunteers to my staff, that they are just an amazing team, and that without the team of Pledge to Humanity and the team of Love You More, we are all one, wanting something better for the world and something better for our customers. And we all work very closely with that in mind.
That's good. So it sounds like you have a great support system. Um, Now, is there longevity with it? It always makes me curious, especially when businesses are growing. Is there people who have been with you from the beginning or?
Yeah, we are new. So
Okay.
people, for example, in my nonprofit have been with me, some of them since the beginning. So I am very, very, I feel extremely honored and blessed and beyond grateful to have, excuse me, people that have been a part of Pledge to Humanity since 2009, since the inception of it. Some of them have been board members for years, which that is a testament of what we do and who we are. And we obviously move and things transition because of the obviousness of we must rotate, but then they become advisors, and so they're still around, they're still donors, they're still people in the Pledge to Humanity world, and as they all say, they will always be Pledge to Humanity ambassadors at heart. And then with Love You More, we're fairly new, and I do have people that are very close to me that have been, yeah, from the beginning for sure, and I feel quite honor as well that I have longevity with, my team that started it. Again, is fairly new, so I do hope that they continue to hang around and see the growth that we want to see for Love You More, um, coming up in the next, in our next stage of growth.
Where do you see the business going in the next 5 years?
Well, my dream is, Sarah, is that it will be a household name brand. that number one, our prices are extremely reasonable. I wanted purposely to make sure that it was accessible to anybody, that if a kid wants to buy a gift for grandma, can do it. And as well as if somebody wants some high end for, a bigger present that it's extra special, we do have that too. So we have that accessibility. And where do I want to see it? Is to be everywhere. I will love it. My dream is to be online, huge, where people say, oh, this is one of my favorite brands to shop with. And the reason why is because of the philanthropy component, or these are all the charities that I list on my website that I am supported of, which makes it very transparent. And I really love the transparency of it, where people can actually see who Love You More has been helping and continues to help.
You have a brick and mortar store as well as the online store, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And which one came first?
The online.
Okay.
So I was a pop-up. I will say that it started as a pop-up. Then I had something in my house, like a permanent pop-up and
Mhm.
at home. It just grew to the point where it was a good problem. And when nobody wanted to do brick and mortar anymore 2 years ago, I went with faith and lots of hard work, and talk about sweat, blood, and tears is definitely part of our success, and hard work and faith and community. So I opened up the store and immediately became super successful, thank God. The community is super supportive, and they have, magazines, local magazines have already said, voted best in town at a very, very early age that we were open. Customer satisfaction is a priority. Customer service is priority. Quality items are priority. And that friendship with the brand and the customer is at the top of my requirements for my staff and myself. So that's what I would like to be one day, not only a successful brick and mortar, but an online successful brand that can be accessed by anyone, anywhere around the world. So that's kind of where I would like to, that's what I dream to be one day.
I love to hear that, because with everything that's happened over the past few years, so many people have gone away from brick and mortar stores. So it's great to hear that they're coming back, because you do still it's like a social aspect of life, going out, going shopping. It's
Right.
not something that's really done anymore. So many things are done online. However, I still think there's something to that, Saturday stroll down the main street and stopping in at local
Absolutely.
stores, especially in small towns, which I grew up in. So I love
Absolutely.
it. It breaks your heart when you see all these places
I
closing.
absolutely,
So that's
absolutely.
great. You have a cute little storefront. I saw a picture of it on your
Thank
website. It
you.
is adorable. It
Thank
just
you.
literally fits into that Main Street aesthetic, excuse me.
Yes.
So now that we've talked about quite a bit of business, let's talk about you. Like, did you go to university thinking I want to be a business owner, or were you more on the philanthropy side and just kind of landed in business?
For sure. It started philanthropy as number one. That was in my heart. I was honored to receive an award by People Magazine several years ago. And in the article, which you can probably Google it and see it, talks about when did everything started. And that says a lot. That's my story. And I was very, very young. I was about 8 years old when I just could not become numb of what I was seeing around me, which is, I was very fortunate to, my parents were driving me to school, to and from, and I will see the children either begging in the streets at the time that they should be, perhaps at school or eating Why are they here so late? And I could not stop thinking about why is this happening. So back that many years ago, I used to be a kid, a child. Growing up, I knew in my heart that I had a calling, that it was going to be something. I didn't know how it would look like. I don't know when it was going to happen. I had no idea how was I going to do it, but I knew in my heart of hearts that that's what I was born to do, a philanthropist at heart. And so when you're asking me about um, when did it started, that's how far it started it. Then the entrepreneur in me has always been in my heart as well. So those two things, I don't know which one came first, but I'm guessing because of my age, I will say the philanthropy part of it. And as I got older, I just love business and ideas. And my friends that had businesses, I will always tell them my 2 cents. And I said, I'll help you. Let's brainstorm. This is what I think you should do. So I will do that, and then also starting my own businesses as well. I did not finish college, and
Okay.
so I know that deep my in the deepest part of me, that business woman has always been there, so it made it so much easier how passionate I am of what I do, and how I I just set myself in my mind what I want to do, and I dream about it, and I know nothing comes without hard work. And so I will work until it gets done. And that is one of the things that I teach to my Pledge to Humanity crowd, which are thousands of kids. Pledge to Humanity um, has grown tremendously from just a few kids 15, 16 years ago to thousands now. So when I speak to them, I say, when you have a passion, if it is related to work or a business idea or wanting to help in the world, nothing comes easy. You just have to work hard, and if it is in your mind and it is in your heart, just go and run with it, and don't take no for an answer. So that's kind of like I continue, as you notice, to kind of do this with Pledge to Humanity and Love You More, because I live that every single day of my life. I am not retired philanthropist. I am I'm working every day with Pledge to Humanity and Love You More equally at the same time. So I keep on mixing them both because um, I even share offices with both of my my passions, which is obviously my philanthropy, my Pledge to Humanity organization, and my Love You More social enterprise.
So you kind of answered my next question, which would have been, what's a piece of advice that you give to somebody starting out in the industry? I did notice in reading your bio that you said you had previously owned other businesses. Um, I never like to say, did they fail? Because no business is a failure. It's always a learning curve. But was there something that you struggled with that made you move on, or was it the need to have the more philanthropic business model?
Yeah, no, what happened is that my other businesses were very successful, actually.
Okay.
They were very successful to the point that I could not start my philanthropy. Every time I tried since 2000 and maybe six, I just could not juggle my businesses, and they were managing all my wonderful employees, and there were multiple locations unrelated to Love You More, nothing to do with Love You More. Love You More is fairly new. And so this is back in 2006, maybe. And then I just couldn't do it. But I had this burning desire as my children are getting older. And I just knew my heart of hearts was to instill in them the philanthropy part of it. And there was only one way to do it. I couldn't do my children were little. Right now, it's easier for me to juggle my business, my philanthropy, and my global initiatives because all my children are grown. So we are empty nesters. But back then, I couldn't do it. My children were my priority, and
Right.
then my family, right? So my children, my family, then my business, and then my nonprofit that I was like even thinking about names of it and going through the paperwork of creating a 501(c)(3). And I just remember I am not going to be able to do this too well. And so I had a serious prayer and a serious decision making, and I said I'm going to sell my businesses, and they were at a point where they were successful enough that I could sell them.
Okay.
I could say, you know what, I'm just going to sell this too, and start and gave up any business or anything that was not pledged to humanity for many years. And I'm talking about 15, 15, 16 since its inception, and
Okay.
continues. I continue to be a volunteer of my own nonprofit. I don't get paid. I have never gotten paid. And it is a labor of love for what I strongly believe in.
That's so great. And I don't want to say that not everyday people are doing things like this, because I know there are many, many people in the world who start nonprofits and volunteer themselves and don't take, but from a bystander point of view, I should say, we see a lot of celebrities doing this, and they always get such a praise for, oh, you do this from the goodness of your heart because they can afford to not take a paycheck. So it's very humbling when you find people who are not in that celebrity status who are able to do things like this and just find a way to make it work because they know that it's important what they're doing.
Correct. And it was not easy.
No.
Certainly was not an easy decision. Trust me. Sweat, blood, and tears. I repeat it again. It was a decision that was heart-wrenching for me to do, but it's almost like I could not do it. It was a burning desire that I had since I was 18 years old. And my children were growing, and I had them in like elementary age at that time. And I knew time was going to go by so fast. And in a blink of an eye, I would have said, I wish I would have done that. And I said, I cannot jeopardize this burning desire and calling just because there's no time, or because I shouldn't give up this. But it was more of a really something that I had to deal with within my heart on that decision, because it was that deep and that strong that I knew that was what I was born to do, not a businesswoman. Businesswoman came later, or I should say before, because I was a businesswoman, but I mean the full commitment of my
Right.
existence, the
It was
full
something you
commitment.
Yeah, it was something you had
Mhm.
to do to get to where you needed to be in order
In
to do.
in order to be successful with a nonprofit that
Right.
deserve my entire attention. And mind you, I had my children with me at the same time. So they walk with me through the beginning and the challenges of the nonprofit, the doubting,
Mhm.
comments and words, and like, what? Are you crazy? I had to deal with that. And I never questioned myself, but I question if I was doing the right thing for other reasons, but not for me and for my children. That was very settled.
Right.
And so my children tag along with me, and I have no regrets, because at the same time, they are who they are because what they saw. They understood that giving back and having a nonprofit under your family life and umbrella it was never to act like if it was a charity thing. That is a big no-no on my mission statement. You do things because it's the right thing to do, because you will want somebody else to do that for you. And it's doing unto others and doing it out of the kindness of your heart, never out of charity, because otherwise it misses and you lose the magic of doing things because you are called to, and because, such cliche, but it is far greater, really, to give than to receive. And when children and youth, as my Pledge to Humanity ambassadors, know that, they tell me this time and time and time again, Mrs. Ghorbani, this was amazing. I am exhausted, yet we've been working for hours doing these projects, or feeding the homeless, or traveling to Kenya to build schools, and obviously, to be a part of projects that we have in our global initiatives. But the joy surpassed any tiredness or pain or doubts. And so I will never be able to say, oh, I wish I didn't do that. No, I am so, so honored that I have thousands of children that to this day grown in the world already working. Um, they say I will never forget everything I learned by giving back and being selfless. So
That is such a great lesson. And I think it's very important these days when we live in such a fast paced, very consumer driven society. And it is so hard to teach our children the importance of giving back and not just receiving. And I quite honestly, like, not to knock school curriculums, but I don't think it's taught the same values as we were growing up. So it is a struggle to teach that these days. So it's so great to see that there are people who still hold that near and dear, want to spread that message, and do want to give back, because at the end of the day, everybody at one point or another is needed a helping hand. Doesn't
absolutely,
matter where you are in
absolutely,
life now, at some point you needed help from somebody.
absolutely. Absolutely. We're humans, and
Right.
we are vulnerable, and we want to be able to learn how to be vulnerable and how to say I need help, and give the help when it's needed. That's why I tell the kids, just do it out of the kindness of your heart. Don't put any judgment in your mind about anything, or you're giving because you have so much, or you're giving because they have less, or you're giving or doing because you need that for a college application. I I always say that don't do it for those reasons, because if you do it, you're wasting your time. You are not learning one of the most important lessons that you have. I have the privilege to work with a lot of local schools, private as well as public. So the districts, the whole district in our area and few other ones around, are completely in love with Pledge to Humanity for many, many years, because they say you are bringing things that we really cannot teach, because their schedule is just so like boom, boom, boom. That, God bless the teachers, they barely have time to finalize their own curriculums. And we bring programs where the teachers and the staff, but they don't have to do anything. We do it all. We put it all together. Pledge to Humanity does, and we also sponsor it. And so it's amazing, because we put all these amazing projects with from 20 kids to 300, and we set it all up. We put it together. We do hands-on projects. So from inception to reflection, not just we're going to have a drive of a code drive and we're going to put your codes on that bin. What is that? Where is the lesson in there? There's no lesson. They don't even know who's cold, and why am I putting a jacket or a can of food in the bin outside of my school? So I remember since the kids were little, I will say, that's great that we're doing a food drive. But now, can I go to the kids and say, did you guys know Raise your hand. This is elementary school. Raise your hand, sweetie, if you know where the food is coming. Where is it going? To the food bank, right? But I'm like, but where did you know? And then I will start my conversations of how important it is to make the connection with giving and giving graciously, and then having the kids benefit from this information that normally they don't get. So Pledge to Humanity's job and mission is to do that from inception to reflection and then everything in between, not just give to give. So
This curriculum that you have that you're taking into schools, is this something that is only available locally, or is this something that people in other areas could reach out to either teach themselves or have you guys come out to do?
well, we recently have a software, a very, very awesome software, which we didn't have. We grew organically, Sarah. We're talking about from the ground with 5 people asking people to come over to our events, and from starting with a taco truck event gala to now doing our events at a country club. So talk about from zero, we started it that way. So um to your question, we now have a sophisticated software that was donated by one of our board members,
Mhm.
um, and that captures like the school, this high school, this middle school. So we have the capability of growth
Okay.
somewhere else, if that somewhere else has a parent liaison and a school advisor. Those are our requirements. So we're finalizing to do this like away, for example, to other areas, like a philanthropy on a box. We are trying to create, and we're almost finalizing that. Kind of like, how do I start? Like, how do I start a little group in my school where where your children could start with projects that are age appropriate, that information is appropriate for their little minds, and from what's a foster child? How does that work? What does that mean? What's a foster home? What is a shelter? Who lives in a shelter? Why do they live in a shelter? So we do pretty basic to, accountability to my older kids and say, come on, let's roll up our sleeves, and we're going to be feeding our brothers and sisters over here, and we're going to be taking all these toiletries and all this that we collected, we put together, we fundraise for, la 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 la, to make an impact. So if you go to my website one of these days, check it out.
Okay. So I did briefly look at the website, but I couldn't go through all of them. But that's good to know because it is a great program. And I think that's one of the biggest hurdles for smaller nonprofits is if they have a platform that is teachable, is getting it out there to everybody so it doesn't have to remain local. You can get the global aspect or
Oh,
even
for
just the
sure.
national aspect of it.
For sure. Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh. My goal is that one day I will be able to be in everywhere, not just in the Bay Area. And then
Right.
we were honored, I don't know if you know, to receive this past, not even a year, or it's almost a year, a very prestigious award called Nonprofit of the Year, given by the state of California.
Oh,
So I,
nice.
I I went to Sacramento, pick up uh my award. That I always say that is not my award. This award belongs to every single child that has been a part of Pledge to Humanity. It belongs to every single volunteer. I call in my angels, like the staff, my board members, my advisors, my donors, my supporters. I said every piece of this huge fancy frame it's all of us together. So
That's such a great aspect to have. We're just gonna get wrapping up here, and I have one last question for you. What do you see as a trend in your industry as we're halfway through 2024 and headed into 2025? Either for your jewelry or for your philanthropy? I mean, they're both constantly changing, so.
Yeah, for sure. I will say philanthropy wise, I am very happy to see youth, because remember I specialize on youth empowerment. So I see kids these days, and I hope more concern about what's around them. How can I help? How can I make a difference? And being not shy about it. When I grew up, volunteering was kind of like, what? Where are you going? What are you doing? Right now is more cool, right? It wasn't
Yeah,
cool then. Now it's cool. It's acceptable within their kids and the
right.
youth. It wasn't like that before when I was growing up. Maybe when you were growing up, it was more available, but now it's there's more interest for service clubs. And so I do see that getting
Mhm.
better every time, I hope, because kids are more aware of what's
Right.
happening and how they can make a difference. For my brand, well, I hope to one day be a love you more and everybody's either a bracelet or a necklace or earring or accessory or anything that represents what Love You More is about. Not just a brand of jewelry, but a brand that wants to be a part of people's lives, not only by purchasing, but knowing what we do thanks to people shopping through us and through our website. And I have hearts and paper clips, and those are not designs that I invented. I didn't invent the heart necklace, right?
Right.
But I certainly make it my own with different touches. But it's more of the love you more. Our packaging is beautiful. Our packaging has a beautiful message that says love and embrace, follow your dreams, be compassionate, learn from your mistakes, give those that need you, leave a legacy. It's one of my quotes that I have. And every piece of jewelry and the thousands of pieces that have gone out and traveled through shipping or in my stores, they all have that, because I really think one of those things will resonate to the shopper or the
Mhm.
recipient.
Hmm. It's very true. I like that you have a little slogan just for your company.
Yep, it's a brand with a purpose. So yeah.
Good. Well, for all my listeners, if you are in the California area, there is a storefront as well as the website, loveyoumore.com. And through there and on social media, Love You More Designs, you can see all the philanthropy that Gaby is involved with. There are links through Instagram to both the nonprofits that you can check out. And Gaby, I can't wait to get to meet you in person in a couple
I'm
weeks
so
so we
excited.
can
I'm
chat
so
some more.
excited. Yes, I will be looking for you and vice versa. Looking forward to meet you in person. Thank you so much for including me and for inviting me and giving me this opportunity and the opportunity to love you more, to be known for to other people, and family owned, Latina owned, and just follow your dreams. Follow your
Thank you
dreams.
so much for sharing your story and, of course, most importantly, about your nonprofits. Always love it when there is a story behind every business and that we're giving back. Super important these
Yes.
days.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you.
You too.
Okay.